Good morning, Art Beauty Equilibrium podcast family, coming to you live from Los Angeles. What's this, episode 267, boy?
Yes.
Them numbers is piling up on there, bro.
Piling up.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it, man. Are y'all dating with no address? This is a topic, basically it's been going viral where people have been called out and they call it motel shaming in some situations. You got motel judgment. They had some homeless women whose dates kind of put them on blast because it came out during the first date that, you know, they were living in a motel or were homeless, and the clips were going viral, and it just brought up the question, like, is that a thing? Should you be dating? Because basically the man told his date, I don't think you should be dating right now. No, you need to get your life together before you start dating. So the thing is, should you be dating with no address? How do y'all feel about that?
I'm going to be on the fence with this 100% because, I mean, you know, Shima, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You apparently, go ahead.
So I know when I moved back from here from Atlanta, right? And, you know, getting back on the scene, and a couple of partners I was hanging with, we was all staying with our mamas, right? And one of the questions I asked was like, yo, like, how do y'all, you know, entertain these women if we all staying at home? They was like, we go to their house. And I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. And I was like, nah, I still dated, but I didn't do it seriously because I needed some money. Like, you can't be dating and sleep and hanging on your parents' couch. Or, I mean, I understand, like, don't get me wrong, right? Like, the hotel thing it's not bad, so I'm gonna get into that.
Motel.
But whatever.
What's the difference?
Motel. Yeah, it is.
The door open up outside.
That's what that's for?
I don't know, but I know it's motels. They don't have, like, you know,
hallways.
Hallways, yeah.
Okay.
No hallways.
Okay, so.
Oh my goodness.
So I do feel that, you know, we need to put our priorities a priority, right?
Mm-hmm.
Homosexual. Somebody said homosexual. I'm done.
That made me lose my train of thoughts.
I'm done.
But I mean, yeah, you need to get yourself together,
yeah.
You know, before you know, think about entertaining, because dating costs. It's expensive.
Right.
You know, like so if you out here, yeah, you know, and once it gets to that physical stage, it's only so many times you can pound town in the car.
Okay, I see where we're going with this. Okay.
Somebody might have a house. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? You said something interesting because right when we were coming on there, you said there's a lot of brothers doing this, right? So I'm wondering, is this because in both instances it was the women that was homeless? I wonder, is it a difference when a woman don't have a place to stay versus a man don't have a place to stay? Because it was like kind of like, what's the big deal? There's plenty of men out here that's doing their thing, and we just, like you said, we just go to their house. So I wonder, is it because they were the two women?
You know, I try to do the equal across the board thing, but when it comes to shelter, I think that a man really has to have his priorities together more than a woman having shelter, because a woman, you know, they're women, right? So even with the equal thing that I believe in, right? Like, your daughter can stay home longer than your son. That's how I feel, because your son is nasty. He over there in the bedroom with the sock or the towel, right? Like, he trying to get his issue off. I mean, both of them are, but your daughter's gonna be a little more respectful. right? So son got to go because, of course you can't be doing, adult stuff and you're not an adult. You got to be, on your own doing adult stuff, or you got to figure out a place to go do adult stuff, but your daughter, sit down and get your stuff together. I mean, everybody
So I want to ask everybody in the chat, would you entertain, because I see some of the comments, it makes me think it's a possibility. Would you entertain dating someone if they were, in between homes and they were trying to save some money, or they had some type of plan, but they were at a motel? Would that would that be something that you could make happen? I think if you can build, it's gonna be some people that that'll go for that.
How you built that. You know, you have a plan, right? Now, if there's a plan, it's all systems go, right?
Yeah.
But it's a plan.
Gotcha.
If you just out here motel, hotel, Holiday Inn, no, you can't be my friend.
And then you got to remember, we're gonna get to Puff Daddy later, but he was living in there's lots of people that live in like expensive hotels, and then there's people that live in like motels just to like save some money, and rent is high. So I could see somebody having a plan for sure, like you said, and that's different from
the
like
rent is high.
But in LA, I mean, just to interject here, in LA, you might even be staying at a hotel, but you might be in a program that's helping you get to permanent housing, because a lot of programs in LA include hotels as residents, but they're temporary or kind of like
I wish you had your
Clint,
laptop.
Clint said depends on how cute she is.
Yeah, I wish you had your laptop out.
Yeah, semi-permanent housing.
Yeah.
And I would also say, like, let's look at the transparency of the issue. A lot of people are not going out and dating for, I mean, you guys sound pretty serious. You know what I mean? Sometimes you having fun. And if it's in the beginning, you don't even know that they have an address. The issue is no address, right? How are you going to find that out if you don't even know or talk to this person, or you find that out like right when you pick them up? Like, it's a lot of conversations to be had, and if you're at that stage, it's pretty much like, oh, forgot to tell you, I don't have a place to stay. You know what I mean? Shouldn't you have had this conversation before?
Yeah, I do feel like there should be a serious conversation before you do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around. Like, you should really figure out.
You're going to find that out down the road.
No.
If somebody's ashamed of it, they go like, hey, pick me up. I'm at the Starbucks right here. You pick me up.
No.
Or I'm going to pick you up in my nice car, my nice automobile.
Homie, look, in the first conversation, where do you stay? Who do you stay with?
Listen,
because that's important.
We're in the world. Let's just say this. We're in the city of arts. Okay, actors, actresses, comedians,
and a lot of them are homeless.
I'm just saying right now, let's just be real. This is LA. This is a city of fame and lights, and it's barely anything being filmed out here. For even
Tyler Perry was homeless.
For below the line workers.
I don't think Tyler Perry was dating though.
Do you not have a life? Do you not have like a life? Because I'm talking about an interest in someone because of that.
I mean,
hey,
you shouldn't. No.
And how many people have that kind of radar where you can see? And no, because it also takes time if you see that this person is building and you know that this person has so-called potential. You know what I mean?
So listen.
Let me
say something. To your point though, when on one of the viral videos, when the man asked the woman, "Where do you stay at?" she said, "I stay in the city," and left it at that. But what tipped him off was she had like everything she owned on her. She had like some nice bags, like the IKEA bags. She had like a Keurig in there, and it was stuff where you like, all right, wait a minute.
Okay, pause. See, this is going so, it's going left, right, and it's in back of me. I don't know. But
she carrying the Keurig and an IKEA bag, my G.
It kind of sounds like you need to relax. and don't worry about this dating life right now.
See, now,
So-
now, I'm glad that there's a better foundation so we can further. Yes, you do not need to be dating anybody if you carrying around a Keurig. And yeah, I can't. You ain't even got. You don't even have luggage. You got IKEA bags.
Might want some coffee.
I mean, because IKEA bag sounds way worse than pick me up at mom's crib.
It's
pick me up
just
at
like
Pop's
the
crib.
thing
You know what I
was-
mean?
I mean, you can get $1.50 or was it $2.50 coffee from
I'm just saying,
from
like
7-Eleven.
you still got to maintain your life and live. And if you meet somebody, you could be like, you know what? This ain't the right time. I need to get myself together. Or it might just be like, hey, we're going to build together. Somebody said in the
Yeah.
comments, like, we could build together.
We can build together, but
I mean, let's talk about these
We can be
personal trainers
friends.
who's training y'all and dating everybody
and-
and living in their car and work and living in the gym. Like
Unhoused. Yeah.
unhoused. I mean, it goes down, y'all.
It happens.
happening.
It happens.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
And-
judging anybody, but
No
if
motel
if
judgment.
y'all making it work,
Now
Then
there's
okay.
no judgment, but still there should be a sense of priority of
Can unhoused date unhoused?
transparency posts.
look, look, I hope they spend the money on
right, we-
prophylactics
All right, we gotta move
because unhoused and housed can't bring in an unhoused child, like, so, because things happen. So yeah, if you're gonna do that, make sure you strap it up. You
on.
know.
All right, we gotta move on. The internet is turning deadly. We got the YouTube beef and
Who?
also a cup. So
that
remember in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sand City Manny Wise allegedly
That was savage, bro.
he shoots Finney the Legend. And it was crazy because you're seeing an uptick in people like live streaming and getting involved in violent situations. Like he walked right up on them while they were streaming and gunned them down.
Him and his wife or something,
Yeah,
right?
him and his wife.
Look, social media should not be this serious, man. When you over here killing people over fake beefs and words, come on, man. What are we doing?
So it's social media and mental health issues, right? Like
It's-
coupled with each other because that's not normal anyway. You know what I mean?
It's not.
It's not normal. That's not normal. That's not a normal situation. And I
And-
feel like the intensity of things, especially when it's coupled with like other eyes and thousands at sometimes of other eyes.
They
Makes
were
things
they were
worse.
on the Vegas Strip in front of the
On the strip.
Bellagio.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
That is thousands and thousands of people's lives in danger.
Yeah.
This man can get he can get in some. Well, he's already in trouble.
Right.
But-
Hey,
right,
let me
right.
let me ask y'all too in the chat. Do you think social media is fueling all this? Because I do. I feel like
Yes.
they also had another man who killed his girl then himself because she was saying he was down low.
On Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
And he was on his live and he was trying to like explain himself and he told her, hey, don't get on my live, like when you ain't gonna make it out this house.
Oh.
And then did what he said. And
he held his promise.
exactly. And what I'm wondering, like we were talking about this last night, is like, is this bullying, but just like an adult version, and this is what's happening? Because it seemed like even with the Las Vegas thing, they were going back and forth. And so some people, this internet stuff is very, very important to them, And it's almost like once you make me look bad on the net and you on my head and you know, even if it's false or if it's true, it affects people. And I think like we just seeing
Right.
this play out in our life and in the real world, because this is it reminds me of the kids that get bullied at school.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
just adults.
And this is
Exactly.
why I really do not like, and this goes back to those hoochie hip hop shows and stuff, because these are the things that people see and then they want to go further, just like how so-called in music, these people talk about this stuff and these people, they listen to it and want to go further.
Right, right.
I really feel like,
That's a good comparison.
I really feel like, we need to really dial it down.
Yes.
And most of the stuff that comes on social media should be taken off.
I just felt like this. You know what? It's hard to for especially like younger generations to have conflict resolution when it's now not between you and the person.
Right.
You know what I mean? That takes a big, big step in.
Yeah, that's important. It's like everybody's involved.
Right, exactly. It takes a big step by somebody to do it, even as an individual person. Now that you're bringing like your followers, this person's followers,
Yeah, and all this
you know
stuff
what I mean.
is,
And then you're
is-
going so far with the words, saying these things, making accusations. You know what I mean? Like you said, we live in a universe of things that may be rumor and lies. So this is actually somebody attacking your character. This is like, in some cases, defamation, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And a lot of this stuff is fueled on emotions and feelings.
yes.
And I have a hard time with this because it's, they say, emotions and feelings are valid, but, but they go away. So they may be valid at that point, but you need to sit back, take a breather and be like, okay, I may be upset, but is it that serious? Like you need to control your emotions.
And I would like to ask, because somebody brought up censorship, do y'all think social media platforms have to do a better job at maybe flagging certain type of speech and account? Like if somebody's telling, because the guy that shot the couple on the strip, he said, when I see you, I'm a bop, bop, bop. I'm gonna roll up on you, and
that should have been
like, should they start going into that?
That should have been flagged.
You would like to see more censorship?
Censorship and warnings like, yo, like this is a threat on, live in public. So just be warned, if you take further action, you might be, well, he's already, but still, you got to really let people know, like, look, these are threats you're saying on, and you're going to be convicted of this, like they're going to charge you and hold you accountable if something happens, if you over here threatening people in public. You shouldn't do that in the first place.
Just like people call on peaceful protest, I feel like if you're in a situation, you're not going below the belt, and maybe sometimes things get heated too between people. Sometimes it gets heated, but I feel like maybe if it wasn't violence involved, then it's different, because words, how they say, okay, sticks and stones, whatever. But when you get to like making threats and saying this and and when you're talking about like you gonna bop, 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 I don't know what somebody else would take it as, but I know what I would take it as,
Yeah, y'all know, I do not play with threats.
Right, so at the end of the day, if somebody is making like an accusation against you and it's a lie, right? And then they're going back and forth. And then another thing is, we always talk about it in here in the shop, like reading the room. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can't read the room on, how many of us, that gauge is broken, that sensor is broken to like, say, okay, this person is getting upset. This person has reached a point of return. It's a lot of people out here who are like really, really agitators. They become agitators. You know what I mean? And they can't read to,
and then when you add that with
your ass down,
internet,
you know what I mean?
And live,
right?
And then you got your viewers looking at you,
right?
And they team Shima, and you got my viewers looking at me. They team G, and they putting stuff in each other's, group chats and stuff. It gets a little bit out of hand, man. That's crazy. So
exactly.
Yeah, we gonna need to see and pay attention to this down the road to see if the actual social media platforms start doing something about this, because it's becoming more and more and more common. Like somebody said, it's out of control.
People send me people fighting. Like, I don't want to see that. Why do I want to see people just brawling out on the street? Girls got their breasts all out and stuff. I don't want to see none of that.
All right, moving on. We have Cam Newton interviewed K. Michelle, and she broke down and asked the question, when will black men step up? She had an emotional plea about just the black family structure and fatherhood. She was saying like it's too many black men that have money, that have, a lot of success, and they're just making broken families and procreating, but they're not making like black, families that can stick together. And Cam was saying, we're going to be held accountable, but we also need y'all to be held
I'm glad
accountable.
I didn't see that interview, but I'm glad that that was a conversation, because both parties need to be held accountable. You can't just point the finger and say, oh, like y'all, like women can't say, men are laying down with them and just, willy-nilly and getting up out of there, why'd you let them do it?
So is this, so the question is this issue of, is it just putting pressure on people, or is it an issue of like true accountability? Like, what is responsible for this? Because what she's saying is not false. Like, we see that a lot. We see a lot of people that's almost like, once you have money, it's like, you always hear people say, I take care of my kids. When it's like, man, you cannot possibly take care of like, exactly. Yeah. You can't possibly take care of like 20 kids in different states, man.
Well, can I interject? Right.
Go ahead.
I don't know too many people, with that amount of money that's just like nonchalant about taking care of their kids. But I will say, the men that I do see taking care of their kids, George, like shout out to you, my brothers, and most of the men that I see, right, like black men are stepping up. And they do stay statistically that most.
And happy Father's Day, belated Father's Day.
Yes. I went out to Atlanta. Me and my brother went to Atlanta to go see my pops and stuff. Checked on him, but shout out because black men are stepping up. Right now, sure enough, this game of people with money and stuff. I don't know nothing about that. And yeah, you need to get your stuff together. Even if you do have money, right, but. Black men are stepping up and holding it down, more than in the past. So congratulate to, George, my brothers and, the people I see really, doing a good job with the kids, man.
And I do have to add this because Mimi brought up a great point in the full interview. What she was doing was comparing, so, she's venturing off into country music. And she was saying compared to when she was in Atlanta doing the R&B, it's kind of like even after she recorded or something, everybody turning up, all the black men she working with, that whole culture is like we outside, and the night keeps going. She said, but when she goes and she does her country thing, she was like, right after they record, they go, it's more structured. Like they seek out families, they have wives, they like, I'm going home. And she said it's like 5 or 6, and it was kind of a shock to her because it's a completely different culture. So she's comparing it to, and she's like, we got to do better. I mean, and that's what she was doing. So that's I'm glad you mentioned that.
From her lens, I can respect that. But once again, we are trying to do better.
Clint said, when did she become a country singer? Yeah, everybody's trying to do better. That's something to keep your eye on, though, because I do think she has a point. You do see that a lot, but at the same time, it's not just on the black man. I think everybody. I always say, when you have a plan against you, and we have had that, and we see how the images that we see of ourselves are not always what we see in real life, right?
Correct.
So because of that, it's like you got to recognize, and I always say have a little grace for each other, a little bit more grace, because that's a lot to be against. You don't even see. If you looked at TV all day, man, we look kind of dusty.
Crazy. We look crazy as hell.
Yeah.
But
have
just take a step back and look at your fellow man. We are doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And I just feel like this too. Like, try to encourage that more, because the thing is, it's not going to be one person. It's not going to be one group. We need to get together as communities and encourage that. I want to say this really quickly. We talked about Father's Day and happy belated Father's Day, but I want to say that the greatest example that you can give is actually doing the action and seeing it. This barbershop alone, when I see the fathers that come in here with their kids, taking care of their kids, spending time with their kids, being a present father. Those are the things that we need to talk about more, and just having grace upon each other as a culture, because honestly, at the end of the day, it's good sometimes to just sit back and observe, but it's great when you can tell it. It's great when you do it. It's great when you try to have the grace for each other and have understanding and heal, because as a people, all these broken homes create issues down the line. These adults out here who come from broken homes become a certain way. It's like, if we're going to be creating generations and generations that's like not together with their partners. And the thing is, it's everything that she mentioned that we didn't talk about also, like Mimi mentioned in the comments, the music, our lyrics, the rappers, the R&B singers, all of these things who may or may not have a reflection or influence on what we do in our lives or whatever. These are things we have to pay attention to and we have to do better at. And I think that's a great example because she's saying, hey, in Nashville, people are going home to their families at 5.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like when we are in our music, everything is like so, and I'm going to say this word and I hate to throw it around, some of the stuff is very, very, very toxic. Right.
Yes.
In regards to women, in regards to families, in regards to a lot of things, and it means something different to us. It means something different to Black women because we're already lacking because, like we mentioned before, people already tried to break this yoke. People tried to break this culture. People tried to break family. People try to break our community. You know what I mean? So going back to something that we're still leaning hard to have something. Happy Juneteenth. June 19th is Juneteenth.
Yeah.
We just did Black on the Block this past Sunday.
Shout out to Black on the Block.
Shout out to Black on the Block, a wonderful event, a cultured and bespoke and curated event for.
Shout out to Mario too.
Exactly.
He was there.
Shout out to Mario. Great.
Oh,
and
for
they.
real?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Wonderful.
And
Ty
they.
Dolla.
Yeah,
Ty Dolla
Ty
signed
Dolla
on
was
the
there.
ones and twos.
Yeah, it was dope.
Exactly.
It was dope.
So if y'all haven't checked out Black on the Block, check it out or whatever. But it's a curated event. And that's one of the things that is certainly a part of what everybody's out here trying to do. When you have Black on the Block, hot water cornbread. When you have the, what's the other one? Black Market Flea or whatever. All these things are curated events that they're trying to say, hey, let's have some community. Let's come and love one each other. You know what I mean? Do it at your family's house. Do it in your household, but also do it in real life.
Yeah.
Make whom you lay with and who you try to build with matter.
There you go.
There
Boom.
you go.
Talking about intent. All right, let's get some shout outs before we get out of here. We got the Black Coffee Company. Let me put this up here on the, y'all can see this.
Yes, it's out in Atlanta, man. Shout out to my boy Jamin. And him and his people got a amazing coffee company out there in Atlanta, man. Amazing coffee.
Nice.
I had the light skinned Keisha. Woo, look, man,
Fire.
that was an amazing latte, bro. So go ahead and check that out, man. Shout out to them. They're expanding. You know from out here.
And shout out to Carl Kanai. I got some messages. They making a comeback.
Yes.
Are you
Carl
serious?
Kanai.
Yes.
Yes.
Shout out to Carl Kanai.
So 90s clothing line who dressed the likes of Aaliyah, Biggie, you name it. You know,
That is amazing.
Exactly. Tupac making a comeback, and check them out.
Yes, and don't forget to support ABE and Honey Nut and Cocoa.
We just dropped some new merch too on the website. Go to artbeautyequilibrium.com. You get your Honey Nut and Cocoa t-shirts. We got off the shoulder asymmetric shirts. We got the waffle, honey drip waffle shirts too as well.
Honey drip.
Honey drip.
Drip, drip, drip.
And remember, come get your hair cut. Come get your hair done. All your services that you need under one roof.
Yes.
Our Beauty Equilibrium Salon and Barbershop. And we also have Honey Nut and Cocoa for all your hair care needs.
Love on your people, y'all.
Yes. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. It's free 99, y'all. We will see you guys next week.
Wake into the ground.